Ladies and gentlemen, this is a 2023 Lexus RX 350 Premium Plus, and this is the newest version of the quintessential crossover luxury SUV, and I have to say, I think Lexus knocked it out of the park with this car. And what I'm going to do for you today is review this vehicle. First and foremost, we'll look at the styling, then we'll check out the engine and the transmission on this RX 350. We will measure out the cargo space, we'll have a look at the passenger room, and we will look at the convenience and safety features. And as always, if some of that sounds good and some of it sounds bad, check the description below for timestamps. So we're going to start by talking about the styling on this new Lexus RX, and I believe this is a great looking car. Lexus finally did something to make me like their ginormous spindle-shaped front grille. Basically what they did is sort of soften the edges of it with the way the grille integrates with the rest of the bodywork on the front bumper and the front end of the car. I actually really like the front end on this Lexus, and that's the first time I feel like I've been able to say that in like a decade. We also have the 21-inch 20-spoke alloy wheels with dark gray metallic and machined finish. I think they look fantastic on the car as well. They really give it some presence. This particular color is called Copper Crest. I think that this is kind of the signature color Lexus wants to use on the new RX 350. You do have to move up to the Premium Plus model if you want this color. So essentially they do charge you more money for it by making you move up to the higher trim level. And this particular vehicle has the Palomino leather with ash bamboo trim. The interior looks fantastic as well. I also really like the rear end with the light bar at night, the Lexus lettering on the back of it. I just think they really did a fantastic job with the styling. It definitely looks like the RX. It has the signature look that they've been carrying on through the generations, but it's a great update, a really nice looking car, and in my opinion, the best looking Lexus in, I don't know, probably a decade, maybe longer. Now we are going to have a look under the hood and talk about the engine and the transmission of the new 2023 Lexus RX 350. And unlike every RX that came before it, at least in the US market, this car actually has a 4-cylinder engine. It is a 2.4-liter turbo engine. It has 275 horsepower and 317 torque. And it's interesting looking at it under the hood of an RX. When I popped this hood, it was just so much smaller than the engines that I'm used to seeing in these cars, even going back to the original RX 300. This vehicle, it should be noted, has 20 less horsepower than the old RX V6 from last year, but it has 50 more torque. So it does feel a little bit more responsive, and I think that Lexus made the right call with this engine. It does average about 2 more miles per gallon overall compared to the older V6 models. And when you drive it, it feels fantastic, and I don't think that the RX drivers are really going to notice much of a difference. They'll like this engine just fine, and they'll appreciate the extra couple of miles per gallon that they're going to get. The transmission in this car is an 8-speed automatic transmission. It is very smooth, does its job very well. The engine is probably not quite as refined as the old V6, but it's still pretty refined. It's muted. As far as Toyota's 4-cylinders go, it is a good engine. Lexus, Toyota, same company. I will maintain that as far as refinement is concerned, I don't think that Toyota's 4-cylinders are ever really that great, but the turbo engine in this Lexus is, I think, refined enough for the application, and when you drive the car, it feels really good to drive, so you can forgive it any slight decrease in refinement that it has compared to the old V6 for the extra couple of miles per gallon and the better torque. It's a good trade-off. Now we're going to measure out the cargo space, so I'm going to go find my laser tape measure and do that for you. The length from the rear of the cargo area to the bottom of the back seat with the back seat up, 3 feet and 4 inches. The width of the rear cargo area at its widest point at the back of the cargo area is 4 feet and 7 inches. The width of the cargo area at its narrowest point, 3 feet and 7 inches. The height of the rear cargo area, right at its opening right here, there's kind of a low point, is 2 feet and 4 inches. And I'm going to use this button right here. Partially fold down the back seat. The length of the rear cargo area with the back seat folded down is approximately 5 feet and 10 inches. I say approximately because that is the measurement from the rear of the cargo area to the back of that back seat. So it kind of depends on where you have that back seat set. That could change by a few inches, but it's in kind of a mid position right now. And it should be noted that this is really nowhere near a flat load floor. There's kind of an angle to it right there. So no flat load floor in the Lexus RX, but I imagine not very many people are buying these to camp in them. If that's what you want to do, get a Subaru Outback. And if you need to lift something into the back of your new Lexus RX 350, you will need to lift it 2 feet and 9 inches off of the ground. And just for fun, we'll have a look under here. You do get a spare tire with this car. It's a compact spare, but you do get one. You have some tools there to change the tire. You have a jack right there, so that's good. What you do not have is a place to stow the cargo compartment cover, the tonneau cover. So you'll just have to take it out and leave it on the floor of the parking lot when you're filming your Lexus cargo measurement video. Now we're going to have a look at the passenger space, and for this test I like to use myself. I'm 6'5", so let's see if I can sit behind myself in a Lexus RX 350. Okay, so as we can see, if I sit in the front, very comfortable here. I've got enough headroom, plenty of knee room, well, some knee room. And if I sit in the back, similar story. Knees aren't touching the seat. I've got good headroom. The seat's reclined in a nice way. Very comfortable in the new Lexus. We also have a couple of USB-C ports for charging back here. We have some air vents. We have the ability to control the rear climate for the backseat passengers. So very comfortable environment in the new Lexus RX 350 Premium Plus. Now we're going to start talking about the interior features, and the first thing I'd like to talk about is the actual interior color on this particular vehicle. This Palomino leather with ash bamboo trim is absolutely gorgeous. The first time I sat inside of the car, it really had kind of a wow factor to it. It looks very luxurious. Everything looks very well put together. All of the materials are very high quality, as you would expect from Lexus, and I think they did a fantastic job with it. It's clean, it's luxurious, and it's high-tech at the same time. It's also very comfortable, so great interior on this car. The next feature that I'm going to touch on is actually an $800 option, but this particular car has it. It's the Panoramic View Monitor. So this is a surround view camera for the vehicle, obviously, but it's very fancy. If you push this view button, you can get kind of a flyby look at the car from the surround cameras. And the other thing is that when you're backing up and the surround camera is active, it sort of remembers what it looked like where you're driving. So as you can see on the screen now, when you're backing up, once you go the length of the car, it remembers the road you went over, so it makes the whole car look like it's transparent. It's really cool looking. It's the first time I've seen a feature like that in a car, and I like that a lot. If you're thinking about ordering one of these cars, I highly recommend the Panoramic View Monitor. I think for $800, that's a very worthwhile option. This particular car does come standard with a standard moonroof on it. A panoramic moonroof is optional as well, but as far as just the standard RX 350 Premium Plus, you just get the regular moonroof. Lexus has finally gone to a full-on touchscreen. There's no additional touch pad like the previous RX. There's no funky mouse tactile control thing like they had on the one before that. It's just a pure touch screen. It's a nice big screen. It's very responsive. And personally, I think that was probably a good call on Lexus's part. And I think that their customers will appreciate that. This particular car is equipped with the factory navigation system, so you can have the car tell you where to go if you need that. You also have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and wireless charging. And the wireless charging pad is kind of in this little storage cubby that is just ahead of the gear shifter, so you can put your phone in there with the wireless charging, close the ash bamboo trim cover, and have a very nice clean look, be charging your phone, be able to see your Apple CarPlay with the maps and everything else. That's a really cool little touch. It's the little things in life that make you happy, and I also like the little dials that control the dual zone automatic climate control, how they have kind of little screens in there that show you turn this way to make it cooler, turn that way to make it hotter. It's just a little bit prettier than automakers normally make those controls, so I like that a lot. The one part of this interior that isn't really that impressive to me is the center gauge cluster, especially considering the fact that this is a Premium Plus model. It's not all one screen, it's sort of 2/3 of a screen. One of the screens has a big circle through it, that's for the tachometer and the speedometer, and you can really only mess with about 1/3 of the viewable area, which is on the left side of the screen. It does its job, it works okay. It's just a little bit of a disappointment in a brand new model like this. And the other thing is that the gauges for the fuel and the engine temperature just look kind of old school to me. They're not really all that impressive. I think this would be better off if it was one whole screen. It should also be noted that Lexus has gone to these kind of electric door handles in the car. So if you're inside of the car and you need to open it, you just kind of put your hand on it and put your thumb and push the little thing and it opens the door. That's all electric. When you open the door from the outside, you don't feel the door handle move at all. You just hit an electric pad and it opens the door. One thing on the inside of the car is it is possible to pull that handle out twice to manually open the door. If the battery goes dead or somehow you get locked in the car, I think that's a nice touch. It's certainly something that General Motors should have copied in their various cars with the electric door actuator mechanism. Now we're going to move on to the safety features in the vehicle, and the new RXs all come standard with Lexus Safety System Plus 3.0. So this system has all of the active safety features that you would have come to expect in a modern car if you've bought one in the last 5 to 10 years. You've got the forward collision warning with the pedestrian detection, lane departure warning, automatic high beams, adaptive cruise control, traffic sign recognition. You've got the lane tracing, lane centering assistance, forward collision, emergency braking, all that good stuff. But Lexus Safety System 3.0 adds some interesting stuff. You have the risk avoidance emergency steer assist, which can help you avoid collisions in your lane of traffic by assisting with braking and steering as you make evasive maneuvers. You have the left turn oncoming vehicle detection braking. So if it thinks you're about to get T-boned when you're making a left turn, it can warn you and hit the brakes to try to stop that from happening. You have the right and left turn oncoming pedestrian detection and braking. So if it thinks you're about to steer into a pedestrian or a bicyclist, it'll warn you and hit the brakes if necessary. Oncoming vehicle detection, which warns you and automatically applies the brakes when you have a potential frontal head-on collision. And you have curve speed management on the adaptive cruise control. So the adaptive cruise control can slow itself down for a curve if it thinks it needs to. And I've been using it, and it will, in a very Lexus fashion, slow right down for a curve to make sure that everyone else behind you slows down as well and stays safe. Thank you so much for watching my review of this 2023 Lexus RX 350 Premium Plus. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like my video, subscribe to my channel, and have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.